Hello and welcome to the Mirror Game Walkthrough, the weekly gaming news show. We've got a packed show for you today. Well, not packed, but we've got a show. We've got a show. Don't worry. The first topic that we're going to talk about is that Game, the UK high street chain, has confirmed it will end its ending plans. Its plans to end its pre-owned video game business. So we'll be discussing that. We'll also be talking about the Ubisoft exec that is telling gamers to get used to not owning games. Ouch. And we'll also talk about the Warzone covert exfil feature that was going to be coming tonight for Season 1 Reloaded, but it has now been pushed back due to fan backlash. We'll be getting Matt's thoughts on that and more after this short trailer. Are you prepared to go public with your KD online or
no?
Everyone thinks he or she is the best football expert on the planet.
You see it in the back page of the Mirror, deal agreed.
I think the most important thing is just to have fun. What?
310?
No, what button is it?
Well, hello.
We're ready to come for the W, yeah?
Ooh, 12.
Ooh, here we go.
If you can master second man press, you will defend 10 times better.
Today I'm going to be reviewing the PSVR 2 headset.
Hello and welcome back to the Mirror Gaming Walkthrough. Joining me this week is Matt. Matt, how you doing? You all right?
Hello. Yeah, I'm doing fine.
I find that very hard to believe after the conversation we had off.
Yeah. I've got a terrible headache.
Oh man.
Yeah, terrible headache, but we'll get through it.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna try and we're gonna give you more headaches during the show because we've got some news that
gonna try and crack me.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not great. First of all, though, before we get into the topics, Zelda. I want a Zelda update. Where are we at? Have you had a chance?
I haven't been able to play it very much. I'm not much further past where I said. However, though, I have managed to get my wife into Switch Sports.
Brilliant.
She's often asking to challenge me to bowling or tennis or something. So that's the first video games we've ever played together. So
that's
hopefully
nice.
I can push her into some. I really want to try and get her to play. I always call it Two's Company, but it's not that.
It takes
two. Yeah. I really want to try and get her onto that, but I'm trying to steer her towards Mario Kart. No pun intended. At the moment.
I like it.
But yeah, she's really enjoying the Switch Sports.
Cool. That's cool. One of us.
Yeah.
Converting them. So I converted you, and then you're converting.
I'm carrying on the legacy. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much.
I will get further in Zelda. It's just been too busy. I haven't had the time to sit down.
Life happens, doesn't it? It just gets in the way. Okay, well, let's talk about our first topic this week, and that's that UK high street chain Game, this is via BBC, has confirmed that it plans to end its pre-owned video game business. Parent company Frasers Group has confirmed that the company will phase out tradings in the coming months, but pre-owned games will still be sold in the company's standalone stores while stocks remain. So then once these pre-owned games are sold, no more pre-owned games will be sold anymore. The decision that was first reported by Eurogamer as an exclusive actually signals the end of a cheaper way to purchase titles valued by many gamers. We've got a quote from Frasers Group. They said, as part of the integration of Game, we'll be phasing out the trade in pre-owned and Game Elite offerings in the UK over the coming months. Pre-owned basically says what I've just said. Pre-owned will still be available in our standalone stores while stocks last, and Game Elite will still be available until the end of summer. According to Game's website, the store accepts trade-ins for most consoles, games, and gaming accessories, but does not take titles from older consoles, such as PlayStation 2. This is like the end of an era. This sounds like something like 2050, living in the future, like Minority Report kind of business. What's going on here?
It's not it's not quite the end of the era yet, because you still got the. They've basically handed the keys to the pre-owned market over to CEX. Like
Yes.
that's essentially
They're
what
high
they've
street
done.
rivals, yeah.
In terms of high street, I'm sure there's still places online, like websites online. You can, I mean, you know, there's many auction websites. I'm sure you can
Oh, yeah, of
frequent
course.
to get secondhand games. But in terms of like high street sellers, there's only one left in the UK.
Yeah.
And so it could be a very fruitful year for a few years for CEX before that dwindles.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's a massive. I hope. Well, I don't hope anything really. I just think sounded really dark, didn't it? It's like, don't hope anything. No, I just hope that for Game and the decision they're making, it's because they're heading in a different direction that doesn't completely kill off the company.
Yeah.
Although saying that, I don't think I've been in a game or anywhere near a game for a good 10 years. So I don't think I'll miss it if it's gone. But it's kind of like a staple of the UK high street.
Yeah, well, I challenge you to go in a game if you're near one. It looks way different from what we used to. When I was a kid, you go into game and also Game Station as well. Remember Game Station?
Yeah, Game Station.
Yeah, always really close to each other as well. And then Game bought Game Station, this whole big thing. But yeah, when you used to go into those shops, it was just aisles and aisles of just games, like for every console ever. Game now is you have two aisles right on either side. One's PlayStation, one Xbox, and you have a little Nintendo one, and then the rest is like merch, like t-shirts, bags,
Plushies.
all sorts of stuff. You know, console. Like it's not what it used to be. And obviously Game as well, they've recently stopped giving out cash as well. So they recently said that we wouldn't offer any cash, they're only going to offer credit, and they've now gone extra and said that we're not accepting credit at all. So yeah, it's I just think I remember I used to queue up outside, you know, Game for like game releases and stuff. And when I was a kid, obviously you don't have as much money. You have to like save money to get your games. I remember like when a new game comes out, it was like 40, 50 quid. You can't quite afford that one, but you just go through the pre-owned and see if there's any good deals. And then maybe come back in a few months and you might find that game you wanted in the pre-owned section and get it for a bit cheaper.
Wait for it to come back, yeah.
Just those sort of days. I know CEX, their high street rival, it's basically now got the monopoly on.
But they've cornered the market now. Like it's like how much are pre-owned games in CEX going to cost now? Now they can charge whatever they want.
Well, yeah, that brings me on to a different thing. Obviously, CEX, they've got 600 stores worldwide.
I know. I was shocked by that.
385 in the UK. Their entire business model is pre-owned stuff. So pre-owned electronics. If you ever go into one, you'll see like cases of, like, I've got one in my local town, and it's just literally filled with games consoles that are like almost at new prices. Like it is like not the greatest value, you know. It's they obviously make a lot of money through it. This brings to the why now? Surely it's profitable, no?
Well, I would hazard a guess it's just because they're part of a bigger company now.
Yeah.
And I would hazard a guess it's forecasting of like, this is the biggest like drain on our resources or something like that. Like, and we're not getting much return for it. And it's a dwindling sort of, unfortunately, a dwindling area of the market. So I think, it is just the end of an era. I remember the last time I went in game actually was to buy a PS4 secondhand refurbished.
Okay.
And that's when I bought a PS4 and NBA 2K 2018, I think it was. So 6 years ago.
Yeah, only 6 years.
It must have been 6 years ago I went in one. That was the last time I ever went in one. I mean, I don't even know what what it's there for at the moment. Like, if you're not selling games, like who's these days who's going to game to buy some quality gaming apparatus? I can't think of like why you would. Like,
yeah, it's like one of those ones where it's like people say to shop local, right? But like Game is part of Fraser's group.
yeah, it's
So
a big
you wouldn't-
company.
So you know, buying up from Amazon or Game, sort of the same thing, right? It's not sort of helping out the smaller businesses. So,
Yeah.
so I don't really understand. High streets are dying, obviously. Like we know that high streets are just becoming less and less busy, and there's less stores everywhere. If you go, I challenge you, anywhere you live, go down to your local town, you'll see like empty storefronts. You'll see like, you know, shutters down, that sort of stuff, all over the UK. So maybe it's that. Maybe it's like the increase in rent. They're trying to, you know, close some stores out, and
Maybe they're trying to take Game completely online, and this is the beginning. This is
Maybe.
the beginning of like, because once you take away the games, like I say, what
From
reason
Game.
is there? Yeah, from
you
Game.
take the games from Game.
Once
Yeah.
you take the games from Game,
Yeah.
it feels like when you see a game store and you're like, oh, I'll pop in there if you're just out and about in town.
Yeah.
If there's no games in there, you'd be like, well, this doesn't make any like.
There's new games.
But the store's called Game. Like, I don't but
There
it
is
would
new
just-
games.
it would
But,
just put them in a
yeah.
position to more easily like be able to move completely online or digital
Yeah.
without there being much of a backlash because of the pre-owned debate of
Yeah.
like people. It's like, in terms of being a gaming fan, you want the pre-owned market to be around.
Yeah, of course.
Because you
yeah.
want to be able to access those games. You don't want to have to always pay full price and buy the games like new or whatever.
Yeah.
So maybe it's if we rip this band-aid off now, when we close down all the stores in 3 years, 4 years time, and just make it a website, then maybe that's the plan. I don't know, but it feels like HMV to me all over again. But then HMV have had a bit of a resurgence, so maybe there's some
Hope.
sense that we just don't know.
Maybe. Yeah.
But I mean, it still feels like a bit of a sad
Yeah.
announcement.
There's a lot of pressure on CEX. I mean, it's their whole business model, so I doubt that they would do it. But it's a lot of pressure on CEX now. They're going to get a lot more business, you know, around trade-ins and things like that. But that I suppose it raises about as well that more and more games, we've seen Alan Wake 2 this year, for example, and there's been some other titles releasing not even on disc, just digital only. You know.
Yeah.
How long can CX stay in business with this? Is it a short term? So they stock in pre-owned gaming and computing accessories. There'll always be accessories that hardware, right? But games, maybe 10 years. Would you give it?
Yeah, I posted a video on TikTok about it, and someone in the comments said 5 years. They reckon in 5 years, it will be pretty much non-existent.
Half a decade
on the high.
I could see
street,
that.
which I can kind of see, because the speed at which things are moving at the moment, for better or worse, it does seem like it's completely plausible.
Yeah. We've got a comment in the chat. Fish. Hi, Fish. Thanks so much for watching. Hi, fellas. Love the Wednesday show. Thank you so much for watching. Game are signing their death warrant here. I can already pre-order games a lot cheaper online at other retailers. Don't see the point in games' existence now. That is exactly what Matt was saying. Game without the games that doesn't really have a unique selling point, you know, other than like a historical thing that you just go there. But even then, like, what are you doing going there if there's a deal on Amazon or Argos or any of the other retailers? You know, there's such a competition in that environment to do. So yeah, good point, Fish. Is it the end of an era? Let us know. We've got a poll in the chat, so let us know with that. Do you remember? Did you ever used to trade in games at Game?
I didn't really play many games,
No,
but when
yeah.
I had a Nintendo, like I had a Super Nintendo, which I completely omitted from my memory. Like during my childhood, I do remember we had this shop in Burnham. Like this all came back to me when a friend was visiting, and we were just talking about, like, you talk about the old times when life was easier,
Simpler time.
a simpler time. Yeah, and we had this little shop in the town I grew up in called Insane Games, and I used to go in there and trade in.
Was it insane?
I'll shout out Insane Games. I don't think they've been in business for about 30 years, but yeah, it was just this tiny little shop. I used to go in there and trade my games, and it was literally like you go in, you trade 5 games, and you get enough to buy 1 game, and the funny thing was, like, always every time when you get the new pre-owned game, after trading in like 5 or 3 or 3 to 5 of your games, you go home and you play it, and it's always worse than the games you just had because like that's it makes sense now. I'm an ad, but at the time the rush of like a new game, and then. Yeah, so my Nintendo days were short-lived because I just basically started off with some games. I just kept trading them in until I had like three games, and I didn't like any of them. So just ended up stop playing the console.
Can I shock you?
You
Insane Games, Bridgewater, it's open today.
But they opened one in the town I grew up in, which was across from there, and that shop hasn't been in business. But I didn't know that they were still going.
Yeah.
But it's more than likely the same. I wonder if it's the same guy. And he's just
I remember like going into game with like 10 games and like trading them all in, and then like I think it was like one of the Call of Duties, like Advanced Warfare or something like that, or some Cold War, something. Wanting to get the new Call of Duty, stick the Call of Duty on the desk. He's like scanning all the games, like beep beep, and it's like that's like 30 quid. I'm like, what do you mean? I've got like 10 games. Oh yeah, these are all worth £10 together. And you're like, what? How can that be? I'm giving you 10 games.
It was such a scam. Like really, like trading.
I remember like one of them was like 50p. It was like Halo 2 or something. It was like 50p. I was like, and it made me think like the amount of enjoyment I got from that game. Like selling it for 50p, I can't do it. I had to take half them away because there's just no point. 50p, there's just no point, you know. Just worth more than that.
It's always like I saw just a funny video the other day of someone taking that, like there was a meme of someone taking their PS5 into like a CEX or a game and being like, how much can I get for this, man? And they go, come back in an hour, we got to test it. And then it cuts to the test, and it's just them dropping a PS5 down about 50 flights of stairs, and then him coming back in and being like, after the test, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
Like, it doesn't work. So, and so I can give you like £15 store credit.
Yeah.
And it feels like, you know, relatable content. It's very that's what it felt like when you traded in games.
Absolutely. If you traded in a PlayStation Portal right now, I'm just having a look at CEX's website. You can buy one for $270, which I believe is more than what it costs on the PlayStation website. I'll have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure it's $249. You can get £200 for selling it. So they basically make 68 quid on that one thing. So I mean, if you look at it from that point of view,
if someone buys it for that price,
of course, yeah. But I mean, yeah, I just can't believe it. Like all the memories, you know, going in and seeing all the pre-owned stuff. It's just a shame that it's going that way, you know. And we'll move on to our next topic, which also touches on this as well. But the physical versus digital debate is just becoming more and more pronounced, and it is moving more and more towards digital with every passing moment, it feels like. So moving on to our next topic, Ubisoft exec tells gamers to get used to not owning games. Have you seen these quotes?
I haven't seen them, only from the document that you just...
So this is via
sent over.
gamesindustry.biz, who interviewed Philippe Tremblay, director of subscriptions at Ubisoft. This is a direct quote. One of the things we saw is that gamers are used to, a little bit like DVD, having and owning their games. That's the consumer shift that needs to happen. They got comfortable not owning their CD collection or DVD collection. That's a transformation that's been a bit slower to happen in games. As gamers grow comfortable in that aspect, you don't lose your progress. If you resume your game at another time, your progress file is still there. That's not being deleted. You don't lose what you built in the game or engagement with the game. It's about feeling comfortable with not owning your game. I still do have 2 boxes of DVDs. I definitely understand the game's perspective with that. But as people embrace the model, they will see that these games will exist, the service will continue, and you'll be able to access them when you feel like. That's reassuring. Streaming is also a thing that works really well with subscriptions, so you pay when you need it as opposed to paying all the time. Ugh.
Just sounds like somebody wanting to make money from
So
people
this was
not owning stuff.
This is speaking to discuss the launch of Ubisoft's new Ubisoft Plus Premium and Ubisoft Plus Classics subscription service.
This is the thing that really gets me with subscriptions, because you hear it with like your Netflixes and your Prime Videos and all sorts of stuff, and like your Disney's like, we're putting the price up, blah blah blah. Like, do they think that we've all got all the money? Because like you can't all be subscription based, because otherwise now I have to choose like what I can afford, the one I can afford maybe. And for some people it's none. And some people might be able to have 3 or 4. Some people might be able to have all of them. Yeah. But like when you look at subscription based stuff, it's like at what point are they going to get that the reason that they keep seeing people drop off is because people can't afford all of them all the time. So they chop and change between them. But then there's certain ones that you like, I want to keep that one. I want to keep that one. So that one has to be the most important. And then Ubisoft coming out with something, it's like, I don't think that this is just in my opinion. But I just don't think that you're not the guys to have a subscription based model. You're not the guys. Like you don't have the clout to have a subscription based model. Like, because you've got your games on things like Game Pass, and then there's also on like PlayStation and Xbox are the people to have subscription based stuff, and there's a place for it. But all these other smaller companies, like, you know, I mean, I say smaller companies, but not. What I mean is like developers that have like broached into this. You've got like, you know, when you've got like Epic and EA and like. I don't want your subscription. Like I just want to play the game. I don't want to spend $12.99 a month on the basis that something good might come out. Like it's just silly for everybody to do it.
These are the games that are available on Ubisoft Plus Premium. You got Avatar, Mirage, Prince of Persia, Murderfest, Skull and Bones when it comes out. Looks like it is coming out, judging by this, because it says coming soon. You got all the Assassin's Creed, you got a bit of Monopoly, you've got Rainbow Six Siege, you got Division. These are all very old games at this point. Go even further down. It doesn't even. Is there a page? Oh, there is a page too. Okay, there's a few more. I mean, these are Far Cry 6 isn't that.
They've got bangers like Ubisoft. Like they're a great.
Like, do you want to guess how much this is a month? Premium Ubisoft Plus Premium. Do you want to have a guess?
I would guess, and I hope I'm not going to ruin it for you.
In dollars,
I would guess realistically $14.99.
It's $17.99.
It's too much
per month.
It's too much. People can't afford it. Like somebody that has a job and lives in a house and has stuff and can buy things for themselves when as and when. I can't afford to add this to my subscription list.
No.
I already have a Game Pass. I've got and then Disney, Netflix. I've had to get rid of Prime Video, but even those three is like you know that's £35-40
Yeah.
just for those three. It's like how. I don't know what planet these people are on that think that everybody can just afford everything, and it's an infinite well of money that you can take from people.
We're seeing this with Netflix, aren't we? Netflix are losing money. Disney Plus is losing money. You look at all this different subscription for TV and film. You got Amazon Prime Video, sorry, Hulu, all these subscription based, Paramount Plus, all these different. They're all losing money because they can't keep up because there's so many different options for people. People can't get all of them, you know?
Yeah.
The one thing I would say about Ubisoft is if you cast your mind back to the Microsoft Activision deal, when Microsoft had to get that deal through, they had to license out the cloud edition of their business. Guess which company got it?
It was Ubisoft.
Ubisoft.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
So premium does include the ability to stream games over the cloud, I believe. Yes, play selected games via cloud with Luna, or you can play PC on Ubisoft Connect. So Call of Duty games will be coming to this service. Not yet. It will be coming. Still, $17.99 a month is a lot to pay for.
Yeah,
you look at the games included.
It's £15, isn't it? That's pretty much like around there or thereabouts.
Yeah, if you look at that was the US. Should we see what it is UK? Oh, for some reason I was on the US. Should we look at have they got a Ubisoft list in the UK? Oh, there you go, £15 a month. There you go.
Yeah, there you go, $14.99. That's what I said. It's the going rate.
That's a lot.
It's the going rate.
That's a lot.
It's just the speed at which it's like increased. If you think about like, you know, when Netflix first came out, went from their mail service to being subscription service. It was like, I think the basic was like $3.99, and then the when they brought out more tiers, the one up was $5.99. Yeah, and then like within that period of time, which is like 10 years or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like tripled in price pretty much.
Yeah.
And there's always like this funnel or this shoehorn to try and force people into having to pay the higher version. Oh, you want it in 2 rooms in your house? Like, at least back in the day when you had Sky, it's like a contract you're taking out. And it's an agreement that like, hey, if you want it in another house, you have to pay for that additional like feature. And you could say no I don't, or yes I do, rather than just being like, hey, you have to have it in all the rooms in your house, which means that it has to cost you. It's like none of this is a problem as long as you can still buy the games physically. But that's what the problem is that you increasingly more and more you can't. And there's a trend where everything's moving towards that, and that makes it that just makes it like it's unsustainable long term. Like to have enough people to be able to prop up all of these subscription services, because it's not a bottomless pit of money. Yeah. Like everybody's struggling, and like in today's age more than ever is not the time for subscription based stuff.
Well, Game Pass Ultimate is $12.99.
Yeah.
And for that, you get hundreds of games on console, PC, and cloud. You get new games on day one. So you got Starfield on day one, for example. You get online console multiplayer. So your Xbox Live subscription is included with that $12.99 as well. And you also get EA Play, which for this month, I believe, you get F1 23 for free. You can just play it, which is like a decently new game. Why would you pay more for the Ubisoft Connect?
That's what I'm saying. They're not the guy. Like, they're not the guys. Like, they don't have the offering that they need to make it worth it. And so because they don't have as big of an audience, they have to hike the price to try and make it up. But that just does not work. Like when I used to put gigs on, like music gigs on, it was there was always these people that would charge loads of money and then no one would come. And then there was always these people that would put charge like £3 on the door, and it would like tickets would be cheaper. It would be like £2 for a ticket. And then those gigs were full. So the person that was charging a little amount might not be making a huge profit margin, but they're filling the rooms and like making some money. Whereas the people that are like, well, I have to, this band cost me £2,000 to put on, so I have to make the tickets £20 each. Nobody's buying them because it's just a local gig.
Yeah,
it's the same mentality of like, hey, we haven't got enough people to take up this service, but we really want to invest in it, so let's just make it cost more. Well, that's just going to turn people off. At least
especially
when you launch it,
games.
You need to be throwing that out cheaper than everywhere else. You need to be, and also that's what it's worth, because it is not as substantial an offering as something like PS Plus or like Game Pass, and those two in together is like that's 20 plus quid a month, like £25 a month for the two of them together. It's just silly. Like I don't understand the logic. Like when someone was in a meeting pitching this and saying like, we want to move this way, it's like, well, why did nobody say like, are you sure we're the guys to do that? Like we don't really, we've got games and they're good, but they're also on other platforms, and also you can still buy them, and so what's the point in the subscription service? Like, unless the end goal is to take them off all those platforms and force people to play them, in which case now I guarantee you a considerable number of people will not be playing them when before those games could have been massive hits.
I'm just thinking in 5 years time or 10 years time, when we get the next console generation, it's highly likely that both the next Xbox and the next PlayStation, correct me if I'm wrong on this, very likely neither of them will have a disc drive.
Almost definitely.
At that point, when digital games become ridiculous because they can charge what they like, do subscription models make more sense at that time? Probably, but it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be.
It's just a hassle. It's just a hassle though, because someone goes, "Have you played the new this?" And you go, "No, I've got to cancel this subscription to sign up to this one. I've got to wait till the cut-off period for the before I can play." It's just a hassle. Like, and honestly, like, you know, a lot of people will adopt that behavior because it's the only way, and they're avid gamers. But for me, that's the sort of hassle where I go, do you know what? I can't be bothered with this anymore. You've made it too hard for you've made the barrier to entry just too complicated for me. I'm just going to play on my Nintendo Switch.
Would you ever be comfortable not owning?
In certain circumstances. So, you know, this whole thing, this thing with, I mean, first of all, would you?
No.
Ever?
No, I just like it in my hands, you know, my fingertips.
See,
you know, I like the sort of collection. I've got that sort of collectionist mentality, you know.
I think that should always be available. That's my that's my point. Like, really, like my whole view on it is like, I don't care what happens with the rest of it, as long as it's an addition and it's not taking something else away.
The only thing is though, if I collect some things and then they don't work, that's another issue. You know, if I collect a bunch of games,
you can't, and then you can't play them,
then they're sort of worthless. Which just
but it's kind of like what happened with music, right? Like music was like it slowly CDs faded out. And then you had
led to the demise of HMV.
Yeah, which which feels very similar to this. Like, however, one thing I would say is the music industry, although it has changed a lot, and there is a lot terrible. People don't get paid enough, artists aren't recognised enough.
Spotify rates and things.
Yeah. It's music industry is not dead by any means. You can still listen to music as a consumer. You've got more music than you've ever had. But the thing with that was there was a huge resurgence in vinyl because people wanted to have something in the hand. So what happened was people were releasing their albums digitally. But then if you bought the the gold version of their release, or whatever they would call it, you would get the vinyl and it might be signed, or whatnot. And it became like a collector's thing. So for those people that wanted to collect and hold things in their hands, great. Like they've
I did that with the
record.
Stormzy album. I think it was Heavy Is the Heart. I got
if you've got a vinyl player, if you've got a record player, you're playing that forever. Well, until the vinyl wears down or whatever. But but you've got it for pretty much your lifetime, provided
unless
you
it gets
after
warped in storage, but or anything like that.
You leave it out in the sun or use it as a plate.
Also, just completely off topic here. Is it true that with every play, a vinyl record gets worse?
Yeah, because it's physically touching.
Doesn't that make it
material.
Doesn't that make it so much more special though? As something,
When you listen to
every
old,
listen, every listen is slightly. It's like you need to appreciate it more.
New experience. That's what people love about collecting vinyl. But
sorry, carry on.
But like every listen, I've got a vinyl from a jazz club in 1920. I think it's 1922, and it's just this crazy trumpet player, and it's just 30 minutes of this crazy trumpet player. The vinyl is from 1922.
Wow.
And it's a live recording from that club. And you put it on, and I can tell you there is nothing you don't hear anything else other than being in a smoky jazz club because it just feels like you're there. However, my point is I think that there will be a resurgence of some sort of media with games to quench that thirst that people have for wanting to own it. I think it's just going to be it's just going to be a bit harder to acquire. You can't just go into HMV and buy that copy because there'll only be 500 printed or something like that, 500 made or whatever. However, when that thing about GTA 6 was floated about having renting the game, and people were saying, "Oh, that's just that's crazy. That's just such a money grab." I actually think it's a really good idea to be because back in the day you had demos, and if you could rent a game for £5 an hour and you could go and play a game for £5 for an entire hour, and you can get a feel for the game, or you can continue, and then if you buy the game, your progress switches over. I think that could be a really good idea in terms of whatever the cost is, but the danger is it starts at £3 an hour or £5 an hour or £1 an hour, whatever it is, and then in 5 years' time we're sitting out having a conversation about how expensive it is because they've just put it up to £25 an hour.
Starfield only gets good after hour 20, so you'd be paying for 20 times,
But there's but I think there is an application for it. I don't think it's a crazy idea. I just think, again, if you were going to take away, when it gets crazy is when you take away the ability to buy the game, or you have to rent it to get something. That's what becomes crazy. And I think it's similar with this sort of stuff. The subscriptions, nothing wrong with them. I think great idea and they help get more people into gaming that don't know what to play or are looking for something to play. And it's hey, sign up to our subscription service and you can try out all of the games. But the moment you take away the ability to buy those games or physically or even just digitally, the moment you take away the ability to buy those games and have them in your Steam library or whatever, or on your shelf, that's when it becomes just nonsensical and it's not sustainable.
I think what will happen is the price of digital games will creep up and up to a point because disc editions will drop by the wayside because you can hardly buy them anywhere. And then they'll get to a certain point, like GTA 6 when that comes out. What are we thinking? First 100, the rumors were first £100 game or first $100 game, whatever it was. When they get to that price, suddenly subscription models don't look that bad in value. But if you look at it overall, what we had before, it's just a line upwards, you know.
Yeah.
But it'll happen so slowly over a set period of time that it will start looking like a good deal, and that's
what happens to us like all the time. Like you know,
capitalism.
It's capitalism at working at its finest. There's, you know, they put the petrol prices up to some crazy figure, and then they bring them down, and everyone goes, "Oh, petrol prices have come down. Finally, I can like breathe again." They're still like 20p more than it was like a minute ago.
Inflation's only 3%. Yeah. Oh, hang on. No, that means that they're 3% higher than what they should be. Still, you know. It's not worth
I mean,
celebrating,
everything works like that. It's like the cutting national insurance by 2%. It's gonna be up 3% next year. Like whatever, you know, everything works like that and catches itself up because literally what you just said, capitalism. That's how it works, right? Yeah. And we've got no other option, and people will always veer towards the cheaper option when it comes to things like like entertainment. They will always try and go. You're not going to go to a cinema some people might if they've got the money, but like you're not going to go to a cinema to watch like a new film at this cinema because they've got leather seats versus this one that's got cloth seats, but it's £5 cheaper. You're going to go to the £5 cheaper one. And that's the cinema that's going to be full. Yeah. And this one's like only going to have you know, people that really need the feeling of leather against their skin.
Yeah. I think the 2000 maybe even like the early 2000s, I think 2000 from 2000 to 2020, even just slightly before that, probably the golden era in terms of games. Like we had it really good, like trade-ins, like midnight releases, like physical stuff. Like it's just a shame that we're going in the wrong direction. But
it always does. I mean, look at like even the convenience of Netflix, the convenience of Prime Video, Disney. Like it's fantastic, but what's it done? It's killed the experience. That's what happens across every industry. They find a way to kill experience. Yeah. In the pursuit of more money.
Yeah, and I do it as well. I'm to blame. Like
we're all guilty of it.
Look at like Oppenheimer. Really wanted to see it in a cinema. I haven't got a chance. Been too busy. It's coming to streaming services now, so I'm like, oh, might as well just wait and just stream it. And it's like, no, you shouldn't think like that. But that's just, you know, it's just the easy option, which is a shame.
I mean, that was one that I did go to the cinema to watch because I was like, I feel like. I was like, I feel like you have to because it's Christopher Nolan and there's going to be a big explosion and you have to see that on an IMAX. And then I watched it and I was like, it was like someone lit a match. Like that was what the explosion felt like.
Was
like it was. It just didn't do it in the cinema for me.
I'll stream it then. It's your fault. But I'll stream it. Based off that feedback alone, I'll stream it.
But it's the same for me with like, for example, like the Marvels.
Marvel's so bad at the moment.
I'm not going to the cinema to watch it. Never was. I think most people probably in the same boat. I'll watch it on Disney. I
watched Endgame in the cinema.
Yeah, and Infinity War. Every Avengers film, watch that. But it's just the streaming service comes out and it's like you've got to be making exceptional content to warrant people to go get and spend more money than they would otherwise to watch it. Yeah. So but that the quality just seems to dip quite often.
Talking about quality dipping, I would have loved to have been in the meeting at Activision Blizzard at Raven Software, where they were like, okay, guys, so we've got Season 1 Reloaded coming up. Got any ideas of how we can make the game experience better for Battle Royale players? Like, the game is finally in a really good state. It's finally sort of balanced. Okay, we've got the MTZ that's like warping everyone, but we can fix that. Don't worry, we're fixing that. Okay, we've got a great map. People are loving it. Best is for dance. What can we do? I know. Why don't we introduce a mechanic where you can get out of a battle royale game early by paying, but it doesn't count as a win. It's a separate leaderboard. People will love that. It's like DMZ. Like, people will love it. You know,
it's literally like, why don't we completely abandon the structure and makeup of a battle royale game?
So they announced that, and understandably, the fan reaction was like, "What on earth are you talking about? Why? Just what? There was like no reason why." It was like, it just doesn't make any sense. Why would you go into a battle royale game with any other, like, you have to choose the battle royale mode specifically, right? You go into battle royale. Why would you go into that game not wanting to win that match? Go into it specifically to not win, to get this other exfil leaderboard win that doesn't count on your normal. It just, anyway, following a significant amount of negative feedback, Raven Software have announced plans to delay the feature's introduction as well as the accompanying weapon case objective, and said it will instead release them as part of a dedicated mode. So this is a direct quote from Raven Software. Over the last few days, we've seen your feedback about the Covert Exfil feature and have decided not to launch it in the standard Battle Royale with Season 1 Reloaded. We believe that Covert Exfil and the gameplay loop it provides, paired with the weapons case, will make for an exciting addition to Warzone. That said, we'll instead launch both of these features in upcoming dedicated mode. So, yes, it was stupid. Yes, they announced it. People were like, what the hell is going on? Why were you doing this? You're going to change the balance of the game. You're going to disrupt loads of stuff. But they did listen to the community, and they have delayed it, and
I think that's the first time.
Mode. So
I think that's the first time they've ever backtracked on a decision with a game mode, because of feedback. Because normally they do eventually, but they chuck it in and they go, just see if people like it. And this time they've gone, I don't think we should see.
Trust me, we won't like it.
Well,
please.
Like, honestly, nobody said anything good about it. Not one soul. I mean, it's not that the idea is bad, like you say, but it's a different game. You're putting a game within a game, and you're
especially when it's in such a good place. You know, it's in such a good
that's
place.
what's weird. But I always find that. I always find that with Call of Duty, they get things to a really good place, then they just think it's like they have meetings, like they have like get-togethers and meetings about how they can mess it up.
Yeah.
And they're like, let's choose one, let's do it. I just find it so bizarre that rather than like, they're always trying to be too ambitious. With like changing things too much rather than just tweaking here, tweaking there, tweaking here. Like, I don't even like jailbreaks in battle royales. It takes the high stakes away. I don't like any like being able I don't like these gulag kits. I don't like, I can get over them, but like I don't like them because it takes away the whole premise of a true battle royale, which is last person standing.
Yes.
And if I die and then manage to get like a resurgence in the last 5 minutes of the game, then how is that fair on the person that stayed alive the whole game? And put in the work, to position themselves better, to however they decided to play. It's not fair. It makes makes my win hollow, and and cheap, and it makes their experience worse. It doesn't do anything. So I don't even like that sort of stuff. But
what Call of Duty feels like, have you seen Taxi Driver, Martin Scorsese?
Yeah.
So stay with me on this. So Martin Scorsese directed that film in such a way that the audience could not be comfortable throughout the whole thing. So like there's certain shots, like do you know this? Where so the taxi, instead of following the taxi, like it goes the opposite way, and you're like, whoa, what? It's like really like harsh on your eyes. Like it just feels like let's just keep them on their toes, like, oh, it's really good. Oh, we're gonna shut this in there. It's like, just stop,
It's just you just want them to just like calm down and think about the game. And I think what what's good about this is they like say they did listen to the community and decide to put it into its own dedicated mode, which, by the way, is a way better idea. Just in general, I might actually play it.
You know what that mode's called? DMZ.
Yeah. Of course it is. But like, is obviously it's got some. They're trying to find the thing that makes DMZ fun and work for everyone, because they've got something in their heads that they want to move towards DMZ. Otherwise, the game's gonna die. But actually, nobody really plays DMZ that much. There's way better options for DMZ. Do what you do well.
Yes.
And double down on that. Like, you don't need to try and water it down. Like, you know, even the fact that they're waiting to bring Resurgence maps back this year, it's like, just get them back in the game. You don't need to wait. We've had them before. But it's not, is it? Because it's not a new map. There's no hype. Like,
maybe they're remastering it.
It's if they're putting it back in the game, just get it back in the game.
Yeah, stop messing
and
around.
Then bring out a remastered version.
You know why they're not putting it back in the game? It's because they've got all their development teams working on getting Covert Exfil.
They've been doing that. It's like, could you not have been working on or like, you know, the fact that they're bringing Fortunes back in March and then we got to wait till July or whatever until Rebirth or whatever. It's like, it's just so weird. It's such a weird way to be. It's like, it's so easy to look at what most people want and get a picture for it and then just do that. Because if you did that, people would be throwing their wallets at you instead of saying that you're big money grabbers and trying to, like, you know.
I think the issue is that people throw their wallets at it anyway, so it doesn't.
It just inspires, like, how do we get more rather than being happy with that success and then being like, right, what's best for the game, and then that will then lead to more. But people just start looking at the like the pound coins and don't even think about the impact it has on the game. And there's probably so many poor devs that, like,
oh mate, I feel
just
think about the devs
crying inside.
Think about the devs,
how they've had to actively ruin the game because someone up there said they had to do this thing, and they're like, this is a bad idea.
Well, not only that, I guarantee you they've been working on this over the Christmas break, trying to get it into the game, right? They're probably been working overtime, working over Christmas period to try and get in the game, right? Like, put loads of effort. They probably said to them, this is a bad idea, but we'll do it. Okay, we'll do it. It's our jobs. We'll do it. 5 days before it gets released, like, wanders into the office, into all the developers. Okay, big meeting. You know, all that work you've been doing on getting Covert Exfil, let's redo that. Let's undo that.
Start again.
We've got 5 days before the end of the season. Do you reckon you can get it done? Yeah, nice one. All right, cheers. This was 5 days ago. They've had to just rewind that.
But I respect that position more than I respect, like, trying to push forwards with it.
Oh, yeah. Sly Sinatra is in the chat. The supposed reason behind games stopping trade-ins is that the Sports Direct tills apparently can't have a trade-in feature programmed into them. Insane stuff. Because I don't know if you know this, but Mike Ashley, who used to own Newcastle United, he's the CEO of Fraser's Group, I believe. So he owns Sports Direct. Sports Direct is included within that company. Yeah. And according to Sly Sinatra, apparently Sports Direct tills will be used in game.
Yeah, I wouldn't put that past him.
If that's the reason, that is insane stuff. Rocking Games Kid, thanks so much for watching. Konga and Godzilla will be back in Warzone when the new movie comes out. Mark my words.
I would have that over Covert Exfil.
Oh, absolutely, every day of the week, as long as they actually fight this time. Remember that when they just
that was
on
weird,
opposite ends of the map.
Do you remember the trailer? How good the trailer was?
Oh, the trailer. They love a trailer. They are
so good at trailers.
Best thing they do.
I can't. You know? If you're going to say anything about Call of Duty, you can't fault them on the trailers.
No,
it's the best part of every game.
Yeah, Sly Sinatra. I believe Sly Sinatra. Maybe he works at Sports Direct, or he used to work there, because he's got some real They've got some real
knowledge.
insider knowledge here. The tills they're using are from 1995. Not even kidding. Also, why they're axing elite rewards. There you go. There you go. Thank you so much, Slice Notch. I really appreciate you coming into the chat, and I hope you've enjoyed the show. Thank you so much for that little bit of knowledge. We'll end it there. I wish we were still living in 1995 because we could trade in games.
Ah, those are the days, weren't
We
they?
could trade in games. We could do, yeah. So, Rocking Games Kid, get us a pair of Jordans, Sly. Do they sell Jordans?
Do
at
they
Sports
sell
Direct?
Jordans in Sports Direct?
Probably not. Probably not.
You might be able to get some sick Pumas, but apart
Oh
from
yeah,
that,
or some New Balance.
couple of a Gola, football
Gola's
boots or
back in,
something.
I think.
Yeah, but so is New Balance, and
Yeah.
and
I do
I've even
have
got a pair.
I do
think I've
I
got
do
New
have New
Balance.
Balance. I have got New Balance trainers. Yeah, they're
Me
very
too.
comfortable. They're very
Me too.
comfortable to walk on. They've got like an air cushion on. They're really, really comfortable. And on that, we'll end today's show. Thank you so much, everyone who's watched. This has been the Mirror Gamer walkthrough. We'll be back on Wednesday next week for another edition of the Mirror Gamer walkthrough. Hopefully, we'll have a bit more news to talk about. It's been a bit slower this week, but it is starting to ramp up. So we'll be talking about the latest gaming news over the last week, next week at 4 p.m. But if you haven't subscribed already, get subscribed to our channel. We've got some great stuff coming up. We've also got some stuff from CES because we were there last week. So get subscribed to see more of that. And we've got loads of previews and reviews coming up as well over the coming weeks. Matt, thank you so much for joining me today. Really appreciate it. Enjoyed rambling on with you. Been great. Thank you for joining me, and I
Thanks
hope you
for
feel
having
better soon. You've had to stand in
I'm
front of a
going to
light.
bed now.
Yeah. Good night. Good night, everyone. See you next week. Bye bye.